welcome back to another episode of your beloved Black-owned broadcast, Harlem's very own, featuring, as always, your three ebullient, illustrious co-hosts. Speaking first, it's Justin K. Winley, a.k.a.
Pretty motherfucker. Harlem's what he's repping.
So. I didn't think of anything for today.
It's all right.
Thanks, Jude.
For sure.
Joined by my boys.
Here we go.
Yo, what up? It's the wave therapists, the philosophical gangster, the illest nigga in East Harlem. You know who it is. It's Sinbad Stefanucci, a.k.a. Jude. You know what it is.
Welcome. And our third mic.
Oh, how you doing? It's your boy Ahmad, Simmons. Good
Strap in your seatbelts.
Happy Sunday. It is the holistic, hard-hitting Holyfield, and a.k.a. the crispy chocolate crib cookie. We have an outstanding and amazing, I would say one of the greatest people I've known in my life ever since I was 10 years old. He's one of my bros, okay?
He's in there.
One of my guys.
In there like swimwear.
Do or die. I'm doing this away from the mic, but do or die, okay? And he's here on the podcast today, and I am forever grateful to have this brother in my life amongst my other brothers. And he's here to talk to y'all. Introduce yourself, goddammit.
Well, I'm going to just go by Keyron Jarvis.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
Keyron.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, bro. And of course, if those of you who are listening, you might be familiar with this by now. This is one of our features where we pull someone out of our network and we do a deep dive with them about their passion, their field, their career. Keyron is a chess educator and instructor at Bold Charter School. And we wanted to have him on the show even before I knew that was what you do, because, you know, you and Ahmad are close, and I figured you'd have something funny to say or entertaining. But when we found out about this, I thought it was I just think it's really cool. You know, Jude and I have interviewed educators on the show before, and we just like to, help amplify dope people. So, you know, for context, we've met you. Obviously, Ahmad knows you. Maybe it would be helpful for our listeners and also for me and Jude for you two to talk a bit more about how you met. Coming up together. It was middle school, right?
Oh man, it was fifth grade at Harlem Children's Zone.
Wow.
Apparently, he said, I think we was friends at this time. He said that I wanted to fight him.
Oh,
I
sure
did. I came in it was, what was it, summer camp?
It wasn't how we met, but it was something that happened afterwards.
But he definitely said, I came in saying, I just want to fight somebody, and I just stared at him.
It was in the beginning where how I met him. We were all standing in line. We were at PS 194, and shout out to the school. Well, but anyways, so iffy. So we were all standing in line, and I was standing behind Keyron, and we had another person who was like standing with us. We were always tight, but then one day we were in the cafeteria and he was like, yo, I really want to fight somebody today. And then he looked at me and then he mentioned something about my mom. I love you, Mom. And so I was like, bro, why you got to do that? And to this day, he was still denied. And I said, no.
Why would I say something about his mom? I love his mom. Why would I do that?
You never met her. You never met her yet that time.
You love his mom now.
We love her. Yes. She's amazing. But
indubitably,
that's how we met. But then when it came like the summer program at Harlem Children's Zone, we would go to Ride Playland. They took us to Ride Playland.
Fire.
And that
New
was
York staple.
That was a time. That was a time that we would get on. It was the I think it was the log plunge.
Mm-hmm.
It was like in the back of the park, and him and I, we would be running to the front of the line to try to get to it. And it was like the first summer that we all spent like as a class. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, later on, we grew up and reconnected, and just been here ever since. Yeah, man. But he was always, when I tell you, he always had a chessboard in his bag.
Oh yeah,
always. Like you couldn't stop this man from like not playing chess that one day. Somebody wanted to smoke, he would just pull it out of his bag. He's like, all right, bet, let's go. That's mostly it.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I kind of want to jump right into it. I assume, I can't even really make this assumption. I know that when I was in elementary school, we had a chess teacher who would come in like once or twice a week or something. And I can't even necessarily remember if that was how I got exposed to it, but it does feel like it's been an aspect of my community or my life one way or another. It feels like there's always like old head black dudes that are playing chess, right? On the street or whatever. Yeah. And those are some of the masters, the guys that you just pass by on the street. I'm curious, you obviously told us a bit about this before we started recording, but how did you get into chess? How early do you remember, I guess, falling in love with it enough, obviously, to now you're instructing it and teaching other kids?
Yeah. My brother told me how to play chess when I was in first grade. Mm-hmm. At that time, it was just the game. Like I was just like learning how to play, trying to win the game. Like me and him, we would just compete against like everything. But he's the older brother, so he would just beat me.
Right.
But something with chess, I just knew I was gonna get that was gonna be my thing. I can beat him at. So in second grade, I tried to be on the chess team, but I just wasn't good enough at that time. I played in a tournament at PS 194, and I didn't do that good. I thought I was good because I did the 4-move checkmate with somebody in class. And when I played people on the team, it was like they would just annihilate me, just destroy me. But the following year, when I was in third grade, that's when I took that leap of like just beating everybody. I became like the second best person on the team, winning at local tournaments, and then that's when I got the chance to play my brother again, and then just beat him. And I think around that time, once I saw this was my thing and I'm winning a lot, that's when the passion became in me to just keep playing, to keep just getting better. Like my coach would call at home, and then she'll call my mom, and then she's like, "Oh, what is he doing?" And then she'd just say he's doing doing puzzles, doing tactics every single day. Like you couldn't stop me from doing puzzles, and that's what I try to give to the kids. It is you got to really work hard if you really want to get to this level and this to be successful in chess.
That's cool. How much older is your brother than you?
7-8 years older than me.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Damn, that's not fair.
That's similar. My brother and I have a 9.5 age gap. He's older than I am, and what you told us in the email about even going back to playing video games with him and just getting smoked and everything. It's definitely something I can relate to.
I think we all can.
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you think that's where your competitive energy came through?
Definitely. I don't like losing. We even compete. With small, it could be the smallest thing in the world. We could be like, oh, we're about to run, or we're about to do something something silly. Yeah. And it's just that I like to compete, and then it came from him because he would just gloat about it a lot. He didn't do it on purpose, but I think he did it to just spark that the fire in me. And then once I was able to beat him in that, it's like, all right, now how can I beat him in Tekken? How can I beat him in street ball? Because you play that for nonstop, and I just always wanted to win.
Nice.
That's what big brothers are for.
Tekken 8 about to drop.
Tekken 8 about to drop on the 26th.
Smoking all y'all niggas, respectfully.
Yes.
Let's take a second and talk. Let's just go around the table. We'll come back to the chess, but I'm very excited about this game.
As soon as I saw him talk about Tekken, and I was the fact that Tekken 3 came out in 2002, 2001.
No, Tekken 3. I think it was earlier than that. It's 1990.
That'd be mad.
1996 or something.
I remember Tekken 6 came out in 08.
So Tekken 3 came out in 1998 on console. So the year I was born, the year most of us were born.
And 04. Tekken 4 was what?
Tekken 4 was.
That was your game?
That was when I was
Tekken 4 was 2002.
2002. Okay. Now I was first introduced to that to Tekken Tag Tournament.
I remember playing all of them interchangeably.
Yes.
Just in the womb playing Tekken.
May as well have been.
Just trying to get all the combos
while your mother's watching Transformers.
And it was but yeah, those games are crazy, and this new one. I mean, it's just speaks to kind of. This is a bit of a tangent, but video games in general. I always think with each new generation, each new iteration of a franchise. Okay. There's no way that games can look better than this. And then then Tekken 8 comes out and I'm like, this how? How are they I don't know how
bro,
they do this.
I was watching I was hanging out with my boy Putty. Shouts to the apartment, love you. And I don't know. We were just digging through YouTube and we saw like Cat Williams on Grand Theft Auto 4. And we were looking at the graphics for Grand Theft Auto 4, and we were like, "Yo, bro, we swore this shit was beautiful."
Yes.
Yeah.
We were like, "Yo, this shit can't get better than this. This shit is gorgeous."
Yes. Any new generation was just like, "Yo, how can this shit get better because it looks so real in front of us?"
These fucking nerds,
now,
bro.
Have you seen like any other trailers of Tekken 8?
Nah.
You have not. Okay, because when I'm telling you now, you have a PS5, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and like
Go ahead and
I will show you one of the trailers of Tekken. I'll show you 4, and then we'll jump up to 8, and you'll just see like the immediate difference of it. But it's just how far we've come as far as with gaming, because I feel like a lot of people undermine it and they want to talk so much shit about games, but it's something that has grown over time, and it's gonna keep growing, and you can't really stop it. And folks be like, "Man, I hate it when somebody plays games," and I feel like it's just so stupid. It's maybe.
I mean, times have changed. Like,
Times have changed.
It's a fact. It's better it's better than ripping and running the streets and cheating on your girl.
You
so
feel me?
like,
I am home. I am home in my chair.
we are home safe.
Sitting. Okay.
We're not out here drinking, drunk driving and shit.
I'm not with Lisa and Walter right now. I'm playing my games.
We should be though. We should be.
I'm going to move us on. I'm going to move
Sorry,
us on.
sorry.
But it's interesting that you say that, Ahmad. That actually it makes me think of a question.
I had one.
Oh, okay. So
I had one.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Nigga.
Maybe it's the same question.
Is chess a sport?
This is a
It's
really
not the
good
same
question.
question,
It's a good question. Because my high school teacher, he used to make fun of me because of this. Like, he would say, like, "Oh, chess is not a sport. It's not on PSAL." But I believe
Fuck
chess
that
is.
teacher.
Thank you. But I believe chess is a sport. It's just more of a mental sport. Like the same stuff you do for like basketball, where you're training consistently. Like the same things you do for chess. Like we do puzzles all the time. There's a layup line for basketball. There's shooting drills. So it is a sport. It's just more so just for the mental, and it's I think it's more relatable. It's more relatable to life than anything. So
Yeah, no doubt. I saw something how like a chess master during like one of those big intense tournaments and games, they burn like the same amount of calories as like I don't know if it's a marathon runner, but something crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Like,
just sitting there and you're
10 pounds.
thinking.
Like literally just from playing like a long tournament, because like you're just using so much energy.
There's what Ahmad said. Our brief tangent about ingenuity and the growth of video games. And how there's always something new, made me wonder. Chess is an ancient game. Obviously, it predates America. It predates a lot of modern society. But people still play it more or less the way it's always been played. How do you, as someone who has competed in it and now teach it, how do you keep the experience of chess exciting for yourself? I asked this also because I happened across a video of Bobby Fish. He created like a different kind of chess, like Fisher Random is what it's called. Yeah. It randomizes the game of chess to introduce new variables, I think, to keep it fresh for people who've been doing it forever. Yeah. And so, he said, because at a certain point, like especially at his level, chess is, memorization. It's pattern recognition. It doesn't feel, I guess, to him alive. And so I'm curious if you have experienced any of that, kind of like
a plateau?
A plateau, and how do you keep it exciting for yourself? How do you grow in the sport? I imagine some of that is just by teaching people who don't know it, right? That helps you remember the excitement of learning it, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I'm not as strong as Bobby Fischer. So.
No.
So for me, I'm always like learning new things about chess, like whether it's like pattern recognition, whether it's like a new opening, and I feel like for me, what makes it exciting is seeing the excitement on my students' face when they win the game, where they like reach to a certain level, like, whoa, I didn't know I can get here, coach, and I think that's what keeps me going. Because for myself, I feel like I've gotten as far as I can. I am going to still always push to go farther as like my own levels of chess. Yeah. But my main focus right now is just like, pushing them to get farther than what I've achieved. And just making them, stronger each and every day.
Because at the end of the day, do you feel like you're still a student to the game itself?
Always student to the game. Like I was just at a tournament yesterday. Like I don't mind going to a different coach and like asking like, what do you do with your students, or how can I get better? Like I'm always willing to like pick anybody's brain on how to just to grow and just to pass it down to my students.
That's really cool. Jude and I have been dipping our toes into competition in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And a few months back, I was sharing with him and some of our teammates some of my thoughts about how jiu-jitsu and chess, I think, are comparable, in that while obviously jiu-jitsu is physical, it's wrestling, there's that like direct competitive aspect.
Strategy.
There's also, there's the strategy of it and the ways in which when you approach the chessboard, you mentioned openings, right? There's the Queen's Gambit and all that kind of stuff, right? And you can come to the board with a certain plan, but you also have to be aware that you're facing an opponent who has their own plan, another human being, and whatever they do messes up what your plan is. So you need to adjust. And that's part of where you get into like the high mathematics of and statistics of chess, which is like, I read something that said there's more possible games of chess than there are known stars in the universe.
That's a fact.
Which is like, but it's crazy. But when you think about all the possible permutations of which pieces can move where and be taken off at what time and everything, so having that kind of a challenge ahead of you, it reminded me of combat, specifically of jiu-jitsu, but I think it could, you could extend it to a lot of other martial arts. But just because there is always this idea in jiu-jitsu of what's your game plan, what is your game, what do you play, do you like to, I'm going to say terms that our listeners may not be familiar with, but, do you like to play open guard? Do you like to, attack the back? And if that is your game, how do I make my game efficient? And how do I find ways to get to what I want my outcome to be, regardless of what you're going to do to mess it up? So, I don't ultimately think that it's quite as complicated, but I thought there was a lot of similarity in the mental agility that one needs to have to be proficient in either one. There was probably a question attached to that when I started talking. I don't remember what it was, but I just wanted to offer that into,
I think is when it comes to my students is knowing their playing style, knowing what they want to do in the game. Like some of my players are tactical. So if they're tactical, I'm going to give them an opening that, has an open position so they can find the tactics. If they're more, I don't really want to attack, I'm hesitant, I'm like, don't want to take the risk, close position. You may just play like for, if they're tactical, I may say like a Scotch Gambit or an Evans Gambit. If they're more so positional, I would say like a London system, whereas more so it's not an attack right away, but you're building up to something. If you just want to be defensive, there's a French defense. There's many different openers that they could play, but I try to just learn like who they are as a person, how they want to play, watch their games. And it is tough because I have like 40 kids.
Of course.
That compete on a consistent
basis. That's a big team.
Yeah, so it's pretty hard to like know, but I try to just try my best to like, just to see, or I'll talk to some of my students like, hey, like, what does he like to play often? And then he'll tell me. So that's what I kind of like, do, just trying to figure them out.
How much, I'm sorry if I'm dominating, guys.
Nah, you straight, bro. You straight.
How much extracurricular learning and practice do you encourage for them and for yourself, like in terms of whether it's studying obviously the great chess masters of yesteryear or the contemporaries, or just reading about the game? You give them like homework, like go home and read about this, or practice
so
this.
I give them like, if you're in a chess team or a competitive chess club, 50 puzzles a week, tough puzzles. If you're done with those puzzles, we have Chess Kid. I tell them to do puzzles on Chess Kid.
And the puzzles are you come up with them?
The 50 puzzles, yes. So I go through a book. I use the same book that I used back when I was a kid. The only thing that I do now is like I've really been focusing on pattern recognition, and I've been trying to make them look for forcing moves, which is captures, checks, and threats. So I'll put in the book where I'll say capture plus knight fork or threat plus pin. So now they're like it's gonna get to a point where they just look for the forcing move and they're like, oh wow, there's a pin with this forcing move. So I do that. They do Chess Kid. I tell them play a lot. I do sessions in the morning where they're coming like 7:15 right before school. We're doing puzzles. We're going deep diving into like master level games and just trying to give them enough information just to to be successful. I do tell them like, it's only so much I can do. If you're really passionate about this, then you have to do this on your own.
Right.
Whether you spend an hour a day and just doing puzzles or playing games, whether it's 2 hours, it's your preference. But you have to make sure that you're training really hard.
Yeah, especially because you're training them to compete.
Yeah.
which is different from just teaching them the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Rather than just like a chess club.
Yeah.
Just like you go
Yeah, so
there
yeah.
after school.
The chess club, I tell them, hey, like, if you want to go to tournaments, if you want to like do chess
You
games,
know where to find me.
right. So some on the chess club even work a little harder than people that's on the chess team, which lets me know, oh, he deserves to get the spot than somebody else. So
Wow.
Well, all three of us, you know, we're all coaches, instructors in martial arts,
competitors and
yeah.
so I have a question for y'all then.
Oh, please.
Oh, wow.
So if y'all have a match coming up, how do you stay, you know, like in the moment? Like, what do you do to, like, you know, just stay focused on the match and not get, you know, worried about the result of things?
It's a great question.
Sheesh.
I've only competed once. Jude, you've competed one more time than I have.
Yeah, but we also did that. Don't forget about the like striking tournament we did.
Oh, that's
like,
true.
A few
Yeah,
years
we did
ago.
a couple of those.
But I think how I stay, I'm still learning that. Like I've recently kind of realized like I do not like the feeling before a fight. There's a lot of anxiety. I'm freaking out. Like my last one, I had to face this white nigga who's around my size, but he's like bigger than me.
Yeah.
I'm 6'4", 225, but these dudes are bigger than me.
Yeah.
And no one in our gym is my size. And so I'm stepping into the unknown because I'm usually the big guy. But, you know, I lost to this dude, but he didn't beat me, respectfully. I lost to him by technicality, but he didn't beat me. He left with a black eye, respectfully. but like I felt the adrenaline just like shoot through my whole body. My forearms got real heavy. So I think I'm still learning how to deal with pre-competition jitters and nervousness and anxiety before I fight. You know, I don't necessarily like it, but I think it's almost necessary for me to do something this difficult. You know, like it makes other things in my life seem a lot more easy. You know, I'm trying to go to grad school, and that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be mad hard. You know, the consistent grind of the everyday, but having like a dose of high intensity anxiety, I think will prepare me for what comes in my life.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's important for me to compete to, one, keep myself accountable for my skills. It's fun to work towards something, which is way better than the actual competition day. It's, you know, the journey is better than the destination. But
because it's over so fast too, right? I mean,
it's
like,
5 minutes,
when-
but like
when-
it feels
yeah.
like an eternity, but it feels like 5 seconds. It's really weird.
Yeah, when I competed the first time, and you know, first of all, I've been training at this gym. This is the beginning of my 9th year, and you know, when I came to it, I wasn't thinking about jiu-jitsu at all. I knew that it was something that they taught, but again, when you talk about player styles, right? There's the idea of like fighting styles, which is not the same thing as what your martial art is. It's
The archetype you were talking about.
the archetypes and how you interpret the martial art or the combat through your own body and personality, right? So my personal fighting style wasn't one, and still really isn't one that incorporates grappling a lot, in the sense of like, if I had to get into a fight with someone in the street, my first thought wouldn't be to shoot and take them down or whatever. Saying all that to say, the last thing that was on my mind certainly was competing in jiu-jitsu. So when I went, we competed in Fordham, and we were all doing gi, and that's one of the other differences in competition and in the practices. If you practice with the gi, the uniform, or no gi with the rash guards. Anyway, you know, you go into it, and yes, there are those jitters. But then when I was on the mat with the people I was supposed to go up against, I was surprised at how everything faded away, for better and for worse. Like it was, on the one hand, I was able to focus just on my opponent. On the other hand, I almost had like a tunnel vision where it was difficult for me to maybe hear the advice of my teammates or what have you, because you're also the one in the experience, right? And you having competed, of course, and having had your own coaches, I'm sure can attest to this, where they can give you as much advice as possible, and they can even be in your corner during the game, but like, you're in the game. And when there's someone who is your weight or maybe a little heavier laying on top of you. There's only so much you're trying to hear from other people at that moment. Your body, everything is screaming, you know, it's almost like a survival, like fight or flight situation, and only you can conquer that for yourself.
Yeah.
So I agree with Jude in that that's the kind of experience that when it's over, you know, win, lose, or draw, you feel proud for having done it. I certainly did. I mean, it was humbling, but not in the way where it discouraged me from getting back into the gym and trying to get better.
Nah, we was in that bitch Monday.
Yeah, twisted arms and sore necks and all, you know. So yeah, that's what I would say. And it's also because the only way to get better at a thing is by doing it. Ultimately.
Yep, true.
And that's what I wanted to redirect to you in terms of chess. You know, when you play a game against someone who, first of all, actually, here's a more interesting question. How soon are you able to tell the skill gap between you and an opponent in chess?
Oh, very easy. Like within the first 5 moves. Like if you're not doing certain things in the first 5 moves, I can tell, right, this person is okay, like they're decent, or they just started playing chess. Oh, this person is actually, like, you know, really strong. So first 5 moves for me.
Yeah. I think it's probably pretty similar in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I think you know, in striking, there's certain things you can get away with. You know, there's
the bum rush.
Yeah, there's a point to which you have, like, anyone's got a puncher's chance, right? Like if you sucker punch Floyd Mayweather, he's gonna fall out. You know, right? Like if he doesn't see you coming, right? But with jiu-jitsu, it is that direct sort of thing, and you're able to tell, oh, this person doesn't know how to hold their body, or they don't know how to defend against a choke or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, man, I've been amazed at how quickly certain games have ended. You know, I've thought of myself as like an okay chess player for most of my life, and then I go up against, like, I remember I was working at Goddard Riverside, and one of my coworkers, who was another counselor, his name is Jordan. Shout out Jordan, great chess player. And this is just, there's so many. This is part of, like, growing up in I think in New York and, like, in the hood. There'll be niggas, you know, who just have random talents.
My brother's like, one of those niggas.
When did you find time to develop this?
Yeah.
And
you'd be amazed.
Yeah,
you'd be amazed.
This is one of those things where he was just really good at chess. Yeah, I've been amazed sometimes at how quickly a match will be over. I'm like, left there scratching my head. Like, I thought if I moved this one here,
they'd be like, nah, bro.
That's exactly
I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna do that. That's why I put you with this.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It is.
My brother was a big chess dude. Like, he walks around with a chessboard, and he's a wild boy. Yo, shouts out Raheem.
You ever play those guys in Union Square?
Oh yeah, but you got to be careful with them. A lot of them are like grandmasters.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
It's the chess players that don't talk smack.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that's like, all right, like, you got to really be careful. The ones that talk smack in Harlem, like, probably you didn't beat all of them. They're fine. Like, they're easy to beat. So
yeah. How do you feel about speed chess versus just the, like, do you have a preference between, like, the timed game versus the kind of indefinite?
So when I was younger, I didn't like speed chess. Like, I hated it. I didn't have enough time to think. It was too much pressure. Now, like, I love speed chess. That's the only thing I play. I feel like you just have to play it consistently to start getting better at it. And now, like, this past summer, I went to Bryant Park. Like, I got a name for myself. Like, they call me the Black Panther. So,
okay.
So I go over there all the time. And it's like just playing. I just started getting better, and it's like being able to beat them. I played like a master, beat him. Like, I started really improving in speed chess. This is based off, like, just playing a lot. So.
Yeah.
The thing I love about speed chess is that you can make a mistake and they don't notice. Like, because it's so fast. So it's like you kind of got to be on your toes about your opportunities, knowing, like, all right, oh, he just made that move. Like, this seems kind of bad. Do I have enough time to think about it? Or even if you're down, let's say you're down on time, you may just make a move just to make it may seem like it's a really strong move, but in reality it's like a pump fake. It's a terrible move, but the person doesn't really know it. They're thinking that it's something better than it actually is.
What was it like teaching somebody else how to play chess for the first time?
Nerve-wracking, because honestly, like, one, I love kids now. Hated kids when I was Ahmad knows especially how we used to act as kids. So I'm like, I was trying to avoid dealing with kids.
This one.
all in all.
Just him, not you.
But it was nerve-wracking because I never was a person that like wanted a lot of attention, and then like being a teacher is all the kids are just looking at you, and it's like there's just expecting you to like lead them to victory in a sense.
Yeah.
So in the beginning it was nerve-wracking because it's different playing the game to like break it down to kids to make them understand the game is you really got to be careful what you're saying, the words you're saying, so they could really understand it. But over time, I just learned from like great coaches, learned from mistakes of what I told kids, and it's became like easy to me. Like I don't have to look at a lesson plan now to know how to teach a kid or what they need to do to work on their game, because I just been doing it so much that it's like just looking at the back of my hand, I already know what's there.
I can definitely relate to that. It's just when you have a group of kids in front of you and they expect you to teach them what you know, and you're like, how do I start this? Like in the back of your head, you're like, are they really gonna like me? Like, and what I'm saying gonna actually stay in their heads, and are they gonna learn from it? Am I set out to be a good teacher, even though I've learned these skills over the course of more than 10 years? Am I able to make sense at the end of the day? And are they going to come back? And I remember when, you were talking about how you're always there for your kids when you go to these tournaments, and you're front and center, and you see like the intensity on their face, you see the focus, and you're like, I did that, but at the same time, they wanted to stay. They wanted to learn. They wanted to be better, and it makes you feel good, and it makes you feel like I was set out to be a teacher. I was set out to be a role model for certain kids. Given the life I've lived in Harlem, for most of us it wasn't easy, but seeing us now and being an adult in our 20s, and you want to see these kids that were just our age. Learning the same thing that we were doing, you're just like, wow, it's coming in full circle. I remember starting out in martial arts, and at the point it was to defend myself. And for the longest time, I was trying to figure out, like, what was my overall purpose to be there. Was there for a good amount of years and became a black belt, and then they wanted me to start instructing. And that was when the competition started to come in, and that was when I started to help out the kids that wanted to go to tournaments. And I remember this was like a good 4 or 5 years ago, where I had my kids wanted to go. They wanted to go to this tournament, and I actually remember where I was, and I had woke up late, and they were already at the tournament, and I was getting calls. I was in Brooklyn, and I was getting calls, and they were like, "Ahmad, where are you? We're at the tournament already." And I could have just been like, "Okay, I'm on my way. I'm still gonna make it," but it was in the Bronx, and I told them I was like, and I that was one of the big regrets that I know. It's just like I told them, well, I know they're gonna do good. Don't worry, they're still gonna win this. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, but still, to this day, I'm like, I wish I would have been there for them, given the fact that I've polished their techniques and they were looking really good. And I feel like if they would have seen my face, they would have had a better performance. Because a person called me, and then all the kids in the back were like, "Sensei, Ahmad, where are you? And I was like, unfortunately, I can't make it, but I want y'all to do good." And just seeing the seeing the smiles in their faces and seeing that you are there for them, it makes the job worthwhile.
Yeah.
I know when you teach kids, and you see that they're actually learning and they're actually getting what you're giving to them.
I love the got it moment.
It's oh man, it's a beautiful thing. And then when you see that when you teach your kids chess and they have these new moves that you've given them, or they be like you give them a little eyebrow raise because you're like, how'd you know that? You're really getting this. And it's such a beautiful feeling.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a really beautiful story, and it gives me more ideas for questions for Keyron. One of them is specifically about the students. So like we said up top, you work at a charter school, a Bold charter school, and you have this team of 40 kids. How do you, as an instructor and as an experienced chess player yourself, look at the distinction between like natural talent versus developed skill? Do you find that like a certain amount of your students are really naturally gifted at the attributes that are needed to be good at chess, or do you find that all of them kind of need the same amount of development? Or how do you what do you notice when you approach them, especially at the beginning of a school year?
Right now, a lot of them are just more on the hard working side. I have probably like 3 kids where it's like they're naturally, like, I don't even want to say it's me teaching them. It's just more so I can tell them, hey, do this. They do it. They're great. Like it's crazy. But you could just tell that by like a couple of just by based off like the things you show them in classes. So just to break it down for like both, like we have like regular classes, we have regular class, and we have club, and we have team. So when I teach them in class, I could just tell based off how fast they do the worksheet and if everything's correct. Based off like, let's say somebody's not on the chess team, and I may see some potential, so I'll put them up against somebody that's on the chess team, and they just wipe them out. And it's like, whoa, I didn't teach you anything. I taught you the basics, and you're literally following everything I said, and beating somebody that actually been training for this for a long time. That's when I see like, all right, there's something there. And then you go to a tournament, and you're still doing good. Yeah. Like I have, for example, shout out to David. Taught him chess literally last year. He's the highest rated person on my team right now. Just
wow.
Shout out Dave.
Wow.
Big Dave.
His rating is 917 after I'll probably say like 12 tournaments. And
how old is he?
What is he like?
Sorry to interrupt.
He's 10.
Damn. Wow.
He also he has a 70% winning percentage so far. Like he's
serious.
Kid's a monster.
It's not even just him. I have another kid named Liam. I taught him in kindergarten. In first grade, he told me like, "Oh, Mr. Jarvis, I remember how to move all the pieces." And, kids run up to you all the time saying they know stuff, and then you find out like, "Oh, he didn't really know it." So with Liam, he's also one of the he just came over to the upper campus, and his rating is, if I'm not mistaken, 632. And he's only played in 4 tournaments this school year. And in the beginning of the school year, he was losing, and he started crying. He's like, "Mr. Jarvis, I don't think chess is for me." I'm like, "You're in the 2nd grade. Like you're facing 5th grade."
Now these numbers, these ratings, what's that scale like?
So it's from 0 all the way from 100 all the way until the highest rated chess player is probably 2,800.
Okay.
So for a kid to be close to rated 1,000
is significant. It's like, is it like an IQ sort of thing where it's like the higher the number?
It just shows what class they're in. Like if they're 10 years old, or if they're 7 or 8, and they're where my rating is at, then you have a prodigy on your hand. I do think some of the kids that I have that are talented, that have this gift, can get to that level. They just need some more experience. This is a program that started 2 years ago. Yeah, we're still fairly new. We never went to nationals or states or the big tournaments yet. Yeah, so
still to come. Yeah. Still to come. So I want to tap in on something that you mentioned. Following the trail of this whole raw talent versus developed skill argument. Again, something that we deal with in martial arts. There are people who come into the gym and they kind of immediately latch onto a certain concept, and they can fall away for a while and then come back and they'll still have it. That can sometimes be frustrating, I imagine, for especially at the younger age, to have one of those 3 naturally gifted students you alluded to come in and kind of wipe everybody away. How do you, as a teacher, deal with frustration in your students when they feel like they're not getting something or they're not seeing the results they want? What are some of your stratagem in dealing with that?
you have to know your students. I feel like once you know them, you can say certain things. Like for one of my students, Caden, I'm really cool with his dad. Caden is somebody that I can say, yo, what are you doing? Like, get your shit together.
You
like,
be kind of real with him.
Yeah, I could be more real with him. He like, Mr. Jarvis, you're right, and then he performs better. I have a student named Emily, and she's more so like not soft spoken, but like very fragile. So you have to just be very careful how you say something to her. Like I told her like yesterday, she's like, Mr. Jarvis, like my heart was just beating at the board. Like I was just so nervous. I didn't I didn't know what to do. And I'm just like, what are you so nervous about? Like if you win, congratulations. If you lose, okay. Like I'm still gonna be your coach. I'm still gonna be here and support you. Like I can care less if you win or you lose. I'm still gonna support you.
Right.
Don't let it weigh on you too much. Like you're still gonna survive. Like at the end of the day, like is this a game? Have fun.
Yeah.
And you've been there.
Yeah. And then she literally like won the last 2 matches. She got a medal.
Hey, shout out M's.
So she was excited. So it's just knowing, who the student is and how to push them in certain ways. I have a student where it's like, I have to say, oh no, this student is better than you. Like Melissa, like she's another strong player. Like I'll say, oh, James is better than you. You can't beat him, and then that'll fire her up. No, I can beat James. I can beat James. So it's just knowing the student, and knowing how to build that, create that fire for them.
Yeah.
Now, Key, is there a certain, and I'm sure you probably live by this and you give it to your students as well, but I wanted to ask this, is there a certain mantra that you live by as you're teaching these kids, but also like you growing up and being in their footsteps? Like, is it something that you will always live by and give it to them?
Usually I say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But what happens when you're talented and you work hard? Like, and I tell them
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, like I tell them all the time that like a lot of you guys are talented, but you still need like the work ethic, and you're gonna be facing people that just are just as talented as you. So what's gonna separate you from them is the hard work. So yes, you could be very fortunate like a David or a Liam or probably a Sebastian, Melissa, but there's other kids just like you. What are you gonna do to separate from them?
Tortoise in the hair kind of thing too, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen carryover from their skills in chess into their schoolwork?
I would say who comes to mind when it comes to that? I'll probably say Jorge. I'll probably say Sebastian. A lot of them or even Melissa. I would say like she doesn't like to read a lot. But when it comes to chess, she'll read something with chess related. And yes, he still is still working with her reading skills, but I think it has improved. Michael, he's another one very his math was good, but now I feel like it's better because of chess, because he has to this calculator head,
the reasoning.
Yeah. So I think definitely with a lot of the students, their math skills definitely increase.
And with chess being an individual sport, especially with other sports like tennis or jiu-jitsu and martial arts, it's interesting because it's individual. When you're competing, it's just you and the other person out there. Maybe your coach giving you lessons in between rounds or as the match is going on, whichever it is. But how do you build like a team camaraderie for your students? Because they can't get better solo. They can keep playing against a computer and do whatever, but there is also, the difference between having the other person in front of you and, simulating what you'll have in one of those tournaments, but having them see that they're there to get better themselves, but to make each other better. How do you build that camaraderie with your students?
So I have a leaderboard at practice, and I tell them all the time, here we're enemies. Nobody's your teammate. Nobody's your friend. So
that's one way.
I respect that. I respect that.
It's iron sharpening iron. So you gotta, you're going after each other. And I tell them whoever stays in first place for 2 weeks straight get a surprise. And a lot of them I'll see Hanifa, she challenge hey, no, I'm gonna face Sebastian and I'm gonna beat you. And she'll be so serious about it. And, I feel like when we have that, everybody wants to go up against each other mentality.
Keeps them hungry.
Yeah, it keeps them very hungry. Everybody's on their toes about who they're facing. And sometimes if I don't even like who they're challenging, I'm like, no, you're not facing that person. Challenge somebody harder. So we just have that, and then when we go to the tournament, it's like, all right, now we're together. And I tell parents, like, yes, your kid is, trying to get his own individual prize, but we can't leave early because your kid got 1 point and is not getting a medal. That's not what we're doing. We're going to stay all together
until the last person plays.
Yeah, and we're going to clap for everybody that got their awards.
Fire.
And, like, we're here as a team. So, because I know before, like, I would say, hey, like, we're not getting anything, to leave early, but I really want to build that togetherness, especially since we're going to states in March and going to nationals in April. So we need to really be like a unit.
I would compare that to tournaments in martial arts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like if that kid loses and everything like that parent would be upset, but then us as instructors, their teachers are like, why are you crying? I feel like it should be a learning opportunity for you to realize like what is something that you did wrong, but also don't be upset too much to the point where you don't really realize like, okay, I can really learn from this, and we can build that as we go back onto the drawing board. And with the kids that lose, of course, the parents just want to take them home. It's like, no, don't do that. Support your other peers.
Yeah, and also you're not like, that's like psychologically for them, that's not building any toughness to immediately go away when something hurts or is disappointing. But I love what you said about the approach that you have when you guys are in the classroom, because it echoes a bit of our experience in our dojo.
We have a competitive nature.
We do have a competitive nature. On Saturdays, we have this open mat, which is when mostly the competition team, but anyone who's like good enough at jiu-jitsu can come, and we all roll with each other. And I've gotten to the point now where, like, especially if I know that you're on the competition team as well, I'm not giving you anything, right? Like, if we're rolling, it's pretty much for real. And if you're gonna choke me out, you have to actually get it, right? So I'm gonna resist it to the last possible second. I'm gonna maneuver any way I can. Otherwise, I'm doing you a disservice. If I just make it super easy, then you think, oh, I got it like that, and then you go into actual competition against people who aren't your friends, who don't know
that's
you,
a fact.
who don't care about you from
that's
Adam.
A fucking fact.
Then you get tapped, and you're like, well, I thought I was.
That was the shit.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to do the best I can, especially because we're a small gym. And to provide you the most challenge that I have.
I feel so weird training sometimes because I'm the biggest dude there, and like I don't want to make things easy or hard for anybody.
Right. It's a weird space for you.
It's a very interesting space. Once I figure it out, I'm going to write a book about it, and I'm going to make mad dough because like there are more average sized people in the world than 6'4" niggas.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting because you gotta. I sometimes almost handicap myself to make myself better, but I'm not necessarily making you better. But you're also working on that skill to be. It's a very weird tough. Space that I've fought.
And our Sifu, our coach, always tells us, don't go super hard and force your way through things, because the person, especially if you're with someone who's less experienced.
Yeah.
You're only satisfying your ego, and you're potentially discouraging that person because they're not really learning anything the whole time if you're just overpowering them, right? There's only so much that they're going to learn once the fear threshold and anxiety threshold is kind of breached. So, yeah, especially when you talk about this dichotomy between the chess team and the chess club, I'm fascinated by that, by their dynamic, because I imagine, like you talked about, there are some kids in the club who may have the potential to join the team, and then when that happens, they're not used to playing games against competitors. So, do you do any sort of do you offer any sort of disclaimers, like, okay, like Sebastian, for example, you're on the chess team, you know that you can do this at a certain level. This kid is coming from the club. Maybe give them some time, take it a little easier.
Nope.
No mercy.
You gotta learn.
They have to know what it is.
Yeah. But you're not gonna get injured the same way.
That's true.
There's that injury factors.
That's true.
So he can straight up be like, "Yo, it's Shark Tank in this motherfucker."
Like, in a way, you get humbled. You get humbled by that shit.
Yeah.
And I'll also say we have internal tournaments where a lot of those club kids come to play, and I'll tell them, hey, like, this is gonna be tough, but it's gonna prepare you for the tournaments you play outside, because I feel like right now we're the best team in the Bronx. Chess-wise, there's no other elementary school that's better than us.
Period.
Punto. End of story.
So when I have kids that's playing from the club, playing in these internal tournaments, like they feel the level of competition. Like I have a kid named Bryant. He's good. Like for a third grade, he's actually good. But he only got 1 point at the internal tournament because that's how tough the
competition is. Yeah.
And that's gonna help him to go to like outside tournaments and be able to perform much better because of how strong the kids are.
Intramural tournaments are really important for that, like within the same school or organization, to build that camaraderie and that sense of like, oh, this is the level of the people that I'm with.
Yeah.
You know,
but this is all things that I've done, like I've done. Growing up, like in second grade, I didn't realize like that internal tournament or that tournament I went to, my coach was seeing like, oh, how can he handle like playing against the chess team. I didn't look at it. I'm like, oh, it's a competition. We're just playing. And then I realized, wow, like in second grade, I didn't make the team, like because of that. So I'm just trying to give them that same experience to like, just to build and grow the same way I did.
Do you, as far as teaching it, the game, do you see yourself sticking with this age group for years to come, or would you ever move up to middle school, high school, or having myself worked as a sub, in general education, I spent a lot of time predominantly with 4th and 5th graders. It's an age where a lot of things crystallize for us as human beings, 9, 10, 11. We tend to, at that point, think that, like, we know how life works. That's what makes them a little hard to work with. Your personality is kind of what it's going to be for most of your life, barring, puberty comes along, changes some things, whatever. Life
traumatic experiences.
Yes, of course, that can happen. But you're kind of the person you're going to be for a long time. You even look the way that you're going to look for the rest of your life with maybe a bit more baby fat, right? But they're very opinionated. They have, their personalities are big. It can be an exhausting but also rewarding age group to work with because of how you're able to make an impression. So I can imagine, especially for something like this, teaching chess, which is a skill that could potentially become lifelong, even if they don't go on to compete, it could at least be a hobby. Right. Is that something that you think would keep you teaching younger kids, or do you ever see yourself going up beyond the elementary range?
I mean, I actually wanted to go like to teach kids in college. I think that's like a long-term goal, but just more so I have to build,
of course, your own resume.
My own skills in my resume. But I wouldn't mind teaching like middle school, high school. The beauty about my school is that we're like we're moving them every year. So every year we're having a different grade. So right now I have 5th graders. They're gonna go to 6th grade, and then it's just gonna keep building up until.
Did you start teaching with these kids? Like, how long you been teaching?
With them, I started teaching them like it was 2 years ago.
2 years.
All right, so you've like gradually like seen them grow up into like 5th and 6th graders.
Yeah.
Okay, smooth. That's
so
cool.
I think with them it would be like much easier with a lot of the kids there because they've seen me since like my 5th grade seen me since 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So they kind of we built that relationship and that understanding. So even kids that like are not a part of the team that's just in the school, they still may reach out like, hey, Mr. Jarvis, I want to join like the chess club, the chess team.
Yeah.
So
and it's also great because the longer you teach, the more you build a culture, and those upperclassmen, those 5th graders, can help instruct the newcomers about this is how we do things here, which is always fun to have that effect.
Yeah. Siva did that with us.
Yeah. Oh, dang it. It was going to be good.
Sorry.
No. It wasn't. I had forgotten it before you spoke. It's gone.
My question,
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so my fault. As you're, this mic is always like away from me, and I'm just like listening. As you are teaching these kids, and they have, and you've created a connection with them in this school at Bold Charter School. We don't really know how long you're thinking of staying at Bold Charter School. It probably would be like the next 3 years, next 5 years, and you told me yourself you want to make your mark in the school, but you want to make your mark in the Bronx, and you're already doing it. And so, if and when your time at Bold Charter School was to come to a nice closing, do you see yourself going back to one of the places that has made that is like, you've gotten some history with? Would you ever go back to FDA to teach chess?
I would love to. I would love to teach at FDA, especially because we've got a national championship there. I've been around FDA even when I wasn't attending the school, like 4th or 5th grade. So I would love to teach there. I pondered about teaching it, but it hasn't been a full plan or something to do. This is more so like I've been focusing on like the kids at hand right now, being with. I haven't even thought about like what I would do after, like if I wasn't at Bowls. It was just more so like just focusing on what with the kids now, focusing on just making them stronger and is getting my name out there in the chess world more to build those connections.
Because already you've gotten some good recognition from the school itself, and you were nominated for an award. Did you receive that award?
Oh no, I didn't receive it. I didn't receive the award yet.
Okay.
Still one of the runners up. So we'll find out like in the spring. So
the thing that I imagine is particularly effective about teaching chess at the age range you're doing, but also even in older kids, like in middle school, is the emotional control that it requires, right? Very obviously, no one really likes to lose, but especially when you are dealing with a game that in some ways feels like it is challenging your mental capacity. It's easy for the emotions to flare up and feel like you're being personally kind of like offended or attacked when something doesn't go your way. And so, what I like about chess is that it forces you to focus. It forces you to use your reasoning, to use your logic, your logos rather than your pathos, so to speak. I think my last question is, it's kind of a two-parter. It may wind up being the same answer. What would you say has been to this point in your life the biggest lesson that you've taken away from chess? And if someone's listening to this show, if anyone's listening out there to this, and and you could only give them one piece of advice or one morsel about chess, if you could only tell them one thing about it, what would you want them to understand about chess?
I would say patience
is what you've taken away.
Yeah, patience, even with like teaching with chess, because it's tough. It's tough. Like I remember I was at nationals and this like playing those games on a national level. You're giving so much of your energy for that round, so for you to like sit there for like almost 4 hours and then lose, it's like it does feel like the world is against you. You're being attacked.
Wait, a game is 4 hours?
Yeah, each person get 2 hours each, so it could be as long as 4 hours. At nationals though.
Can you eat? Do you eat? I didn't. Yeah, you have like a little snack, like
there's a drone with 5 guys coming in.
Get like some blueberries or something.
So that's the thing too. Like you could eat in between, but imagine you have a round that's like that lasted almost 4 hours. You may get like a 30-minute break before you got to play like the next round. So you eat really fast, and it get tough. So that's why I say like patience.
It's a grind.
Yeah,
like you gotta really be patient with the process. Patience with like just yourself, like, and just don't get too down, don't get too low. Just stay like in the middle. It just taught me like a lot of patience. Like, to don't expect things fast because you've been putting in the work. But don't expect like because you put in the work and now you're getting a reward that it's always going to stay there. Like you still constantly have to be poised and still do what you do.
Yeah, well said.
Just for the fans, but also shits and gigs. Keyron, what is your rating?
My rating now, it dropped, but it's like 1692.
1692.
But I will say that like I play on an expert level, like.
So it's higher than mine. I don't know.
My shit is 1.
This nigga can play 3 games with us at the same time and smoke us. So like,
we pull out the chess boys. He gonna be like, really? He gonna say, I already know what the fuck all y'all gonna do at the same time.
Catch us with the same checkmate setup.
You feel me?
How you all fall for the same trap.
Exactly. And that's what they call him, T'Challa. Okay? But listen, y'all, if y'all want the smoke, Keyron will give it to you. Okay.
Of course.
You can find him in Bryant Park.
You can find him in Bryant Park. You can find him in Harlem. You can find him in the Bronx. Just don't follow him in Staten Island because fuck Staten Island. But anyway,
You just throw up, the Wakanda Forever sign, and he'll come to you.
Exactly. With the chessboard, okay? With the chessboard in
It's
bag.
like the bat signal, but it has like a bishop on it or something.
Literally.
What's your favorite chess piece?
The knight.
I knew he was going to say
Why?
that shit. I knew he was going to say
That's
that shit.
interesting.
The knight is the only piece that could jump over other pieces. If it's in the middle of the board, it's just so powerful.
It has a lot of control.
He has a lot of control. Like when it's in the center, it's just
Easy to
it
forget.
varies. Honestly, I feel like it varies. Like as you play chess, you say like, oh, maybe it's the bishop, maybe it's the queen. But as of late, I like the knight. Like
It's
love
easy
knight.
to forget it's there too. I've been playing games with people and they put their knight somewhere and I forget that the knight's there and I move my piece and then I get
You're like,
taken
whoop,
because it can move in so many different directions. Yeah.
Now, do you feel like there's a certain strategic move that you like to do when it comes to certain when it comes to like certain games that you play? Like, is there a certain move that you?
Yeah. What's your specialty?
You always know
don't make
that
this man give up his
Oh, no.
secrets.
we will cut it out. Okay?
I'm gonna tell people my secret, and I'm still gonna execute it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I fuck with that. I fuck with that.
I'm
Gangster.
I'm an aggressive chess player. Like I like to attack. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna take the risk. I'm gonna like find find the tactic, find the dare. I just like to be aggressive. I like to have the game to be open. If it's a closed position, then I know exactly what to do. I'm able to change up my game based off the position. I don't want to. There's certain people that they're like this stubborn to like change.
Who insist on?
Yeah, they're like, no, I'm an aggressive player. I'm gonna stay aggressive, but I like to change over time based off what they show me. So even though I'm aggressive, it's like, oh, like he's being defensive. All
You're
right.
adaptable.
Yeah, so I won't be too aggressive in this position. I'll just wait for my opening and then boom, I'll just break through the position.
Niggas like Goku.
Do you ever listen to music while you play chess? Is there like certain artists that like
Bro,
put
this nigga
you?
will play a song and it would just be beating motherfuckers. He did it right in front of me. He was playing somebody else. I said, nigga, you playing Thames and you were just you whooping ass, bro.
Yo, that's the one thing I don't like about like tournaments now. Like growing up, used to have like music, you could have headphones in playing, but people nowadays they love to cheat and like go to the bathroom and like look at the
So
computer.
you can't have devices.
Oh.
That's the only thing that I hate about chess now, because I don't like quiet when I play chess. I don't like it's sometimes when it's too silent,
It's loud when it's too silent.
yeah, and like just having that music there, like it just pumps you up, especially when like you're in a good position.
When was the last time you ever felt to yourself like during a match, everything was going good, but then what was the time that you felt like you were just stuck?
And what do you do when you feel stuck?
I'll probably say that was like in 10th grade where I felt like
Damn,
stuck.
okay. I swear to God, I thought.
And none of you niggas, ain't nan one of you.
Like, no, don't get me wrong. Like I feel like in certain positions, I do feel like, dang, like if I have more time, I can figure it out. I don't really feel like stuck was like, dang, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
The only time I felt like that was probably like in 10th grade. I was playing against like a master, and the position was just like, all right, nah, like what do I do here? Like I don't, like what do I do? Like I don't have no clue. But now I have like a sense of like what to do in every type of position.
Yeah, you should. It's like you should never, at a certain level, you should never be clueless.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of whether or not you can pull off. There's again related back to jiu-jitsu. There's a practitioner called John Danaher who's very famous in the art, and he talks about this concept of creating dilemmas or trilemmas. A problem has a solution, but a dilemma is you have to choose between two
Evils.
awful solutions,
Yeah.
right? So in jiu-jitsu, you want to set up as many of those kinds of paradigms as you can, where you're not giving your opponent an easy way out. You're saying, to use a chess, analogy, either you're going to lose your rook or you're going to lose your queen.
yeah.
Either way, I'm
I'ma
taking
take
something.
it.
I'm
Yes.
taking something, and that happens a lot in chess because of, all the different setups and whatnot.
My nephew beat me, little bastard. Love you, Caden.
Hey, he's learning from Keyron, okay?
You're lucky he ain't doing Zoom
Yo.
lessons in New
Right,
Jersey. With
right.
Keyron.
Yo, I'll talk to my brother-in-law. I'll be like, yo, you want a tutor for the kids, man?
Oh, yeah. Are you allowed to like? Allowed?
Are you
quote, unquote,
available?
to teach people outside of?
Yeah, I teach kids in Hawaii as well, like on rookie
on
guys.
Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh, gangster.
You gonna fly your ass out over there?
I got one
Go to
more.
Maui.
I got one more question. are you challenging anybody? Is there any name out there in the chess world like we know none of them, but like
Right.
But I'm just thinking about Magnus off top. But anybody you want to challenge out there?
Yeah, throw the
It's your time to call them out right now.
Drop the ether beat.
Right.
So he's actually been a rival of mine since like elementary school. He definitely got the better of me, so I definitely got to call out Matthew Jefferson. Like
Matthew Jefferson.
He's from the Bronx. Definitely a strong player. Like the first time I played him, I beat him. He cried. I did tell the students. I've told this story to him before, but after that, I've never beat him. So that's the
that was his villain origin story.
Exactly.
That was his Jordan moment.
Never beat him. Like never. Even to this day, like I think I played him like before the New Year, and then he still came over to like Ashanti's house, and he was beating everybody. He beat Ashanti too. Like he.
Also, he's bad about it.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like
okay,
Master P.
Like he's
shout
good.
out to Ashanti. Ashanti is a really good player too.
He should be a grandmaster already, but Ashanti's just
he's not. Yeah. When the both of them be facing each other, it's a match.
Is Ashanti the talent who doesn't work hard?
yes. But when he works hard,
he will whoop that ass. But it's just like when you tells me this guy Matthew Jefferson had beat the both of them, I'm like, okay, I don't want.
I don't want no
Matthew,
smoke.
he's nice.
Is he teach at a school or he's
He teach at so I went to FDA and then I transferred to Bronx Center for Science and Math. He went there.
okay. Matthew, listen. Give him one more match. Maybe 10 more.
Yeah, it's a big score to settle.
Big
it
score to
sounds
settle,
like.
okay? I think after that, y'all need to face somebody no more until you turn 60, okay?
Right.
This rivalry spans 2 decades, bro.
Serious stuff.
Exactly.
Keyron, as far as keeping up with you after we end this recording, I'm actually just curious for myself, are the competitions that you all go to, are they open to the public for viewing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so maybe the HVO boys will
I told him one of these days I would go to the tournament.
We should all start playing chess more often.
swing through. Yeah. Yeah. Not against him. Not yet.
No.
I feel like if
It's like,
it would be like
it's like, hey, Hachi, talking about
Right.
Speaking of Tekken.
I can get beaten any day.
one more thing.
Yeah.
Keyron, is there a certain song that you are banging to right now? Like anytime that shit goes onto your phone, you're like, okay, this
Haven't done this in a
my
while.
shit.
Yeah. What
Oh,
are you
Bent.
listening to recently?
That's
Bent,
yeah.
Kyle Rich. Yeah.
Okay.
What again? I didn't hear that.
Bent by Kyle Rich.
Oh, Bent by Carl Rich.
Yeah.
Heard you.
It does go hard. I play it in secret because I'm like, I'm too old to be listening to drill.
I'm sorry. It gets me every time. I'm not really a drill person, but Bent, like they got it.
Kids
They
are
are.
really good at
Because
getting started.
they don't got 20-year-old knees.
That's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
You know, they got those youthful knees.
Gumby limbs.
You know, they
Gumby
can do a
limbs.
split
Yeah.
Yep.
in the cold.
Pop
Like,
up.
Speaking of random talents that niggas be having, just dropping into splits, just
That
doing
was
like
me.
drop splits. Yeah.
That was literally
oh,
me.
you was Black
I was
Van
one-
Dam?
I was one of those motherfuckers. I
It's
ain't gonna lie
Ahmad
to you.
Van Dam in this bitch?
If you listen, niggas, if you know me, if you know me, you know me. In high school and in college, I was the nigga that was doing the split on.
Were you
on
doing splits in the
goddamn floor.
church?
In the church,
No, church, nigga. Not the church. Church is crazy.
yes.
In the show. I don't want to hear about this. Hey, enough. We want his students to be able to hear some of this.
Sorry. We will cut up some clips for them to hear.
Thank you so much for listening. Please follow Mr. Jarvis.
Sorry, bro.
Do you have like a chess account?
Nah.
No, you just have your
They can
regular
just follow
account.
me on Babyface Key.
Okay, follow him at Babyface Key. Keep up
sweat.
with him. And if you want chess lessons, you know where to go. Thank you again so much, bro. We enjoyed talking with you. If y'all want more Uptown love, you can find us. Well, you know where to find us.
I'm
And
proud of you, man.
Leave us a rating.
I'm
review.
proud of you, Key. I'm so fucking proud of you,
Trying,
dude.
man,
This you always amaze me every single time we talk, and I swear to God, you're gonna be. I mean, you're already on the track to be someone fucking monumental. Okay.
Yeah.
Always remember that shit.
Don't mess with him, or he'll throw a chessboard at you.
Exactly. That night gonna go to your eyes.
Wes gonna do a Hulu series about this nigga.
Probably.
Yes.
Do I look enough like Keyron to play him?
Not all black people look like Justin.
All right.